started. This session is going to be recorded. We understand that some people do not wish to be recorded, in which case you may turn off your camera, although we encourage everyone who's comfortable doing so to stay visible so we can feel like we're all together. If this isn't the session that you intended to join, please return to Spot Me and select a different session. We received an outpouring of submissions for our excellent showcase, and while there was limited space at ProCon for presentations, we'll share a post-conference digital library of all submissions, and we'll be holding Q&A at the end of this session, and you can hold your questions until then or drop them into chat during the presentation. So without further ado, I am thrilled to turn this over to our presenters, Jared and Sara.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you all for joining us. For us here, we're in New Jersey. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So whatever time it is for you guys right now, we appreciate you joining us, whether it's lunchtime for some of you or also late in the afternoon for us. So we are really excited to share with you about our family camp programming, which really is something that came out as a pivot from the COVID-19 pandemic. What we're going to first do is share our presentation, our video that we did for the application, so you can see a little bit of it in action, and then we'll sort of describe a bit about what happened in the last, over the last year. Family Camp at the JCC Camps at Medford was one of our CATS JCC in Cherry Hills' many programmatic responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. In a year where families yearned for normalcy and respite, we were in the unique position to be able to provide fun, excitement, and in-person Jewish connections. Our goal was for families to feel like they could escape the stress of the pandemic and experience a day at camp that felt like a vacation. From our family photos at the start of each day, to the personalized schedules, to our camp directors serving lunch, customer service was a huge focus of the experience. As our family camp days grew more popular, we were able to add in 2 Shabbat-themed Fridays, where families braided challah together and celebrated Shabbat poolside. As summer ended, we were thrilled to offer fall family camp days, allowing families to bundle up and enjoy warm drinks and fall-themed activities intermingled with camp favorites. We are so excited to offer family camp for years to come as it grows and evolves each year. Awesome, so we're gonna share our screen with you now. Just give us just a moment so we can share our presentation with you. Are we able to see that? Mm-hmm. All right, give us one more second. All right, there we go. Perfect. So family camp, as I had mentioned in our video, if you want to flip to the next screen, for us, this was one of our many pivots as an agency, as we know that you all did over the last year and a half since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. For the JCC Camps in Medford, the reason that we really started to look for programming like this was because we are such a large camp that we knew we couldn't run our full camp program. Many of your camps ran in full last summer, and we couldn't do that. In a normal season, we serve about 1,300 children, and we hire about 600 staff, and there was no way that 3 months out from the start of camp that it was realistic for us to do that. So while we did decide to run a modified camp program, we were looking for a number of different ways to bring in revenue for the season, because that's something that was important, because as we all know, JCCs were losing revenue left and right, but also to maintain connections with camp families, because one of our biggest fears was that an entire year being away from camp was really going to cause an issue where families were going to start to leave us for other things. So for us, those were our 2 main reasons behind running family camp. It was an opportunity for us to provide safe and physically distanced family programming and outdoor family programming, which every family was looking for. If you see on your own social medias, I'm sure like every farm, right now it's tulips, but every seasonal outdoor activity you could imagine that's in your area is being rushed upon by families. It was a great opportunity for us to attempt recruitment of new camp families for the future, but also most importantly for retention of camp families through summer 2020. Now, when we first started looking at the family camp concept, the idea was that families could register for a day at camp and serve as their own bunks. That was really the concept behind it, so that you could go and have a full day of programming, but you were really only interacting with your family during that day, and people were kept quite spaced. As families started to interact with other families at home, whether it was their neighbors or close friends, we did allow for families to sign up with friends so that they could go to activities together and have that experience.
So one of the biggest things as we started to plan this program, and I tell you that we canceled camp, and a day later, we took one day to really to grasp that whole cancellation. And the next day we said we have to change gears. What are we going to do this summer? And that's when we discovered family camp and how we started to plan family camp. And as it became, as we started moving through time, we kind of kept changing this model. In the beginning, it was very much, okay, we're going to open a couple of activities, very much family run activities, things like a mini golf or playing Gaga, where really the family could just go on their own. We started to realize, you know what, we needed to do more. Families were paying this premium to come, and they really, we had to give them a more special experience. So we tried to change this idea from taking a regular camp day and developing this camp resort style model where customer service came first. We looked at who we wanted to hire as far as the staff, and we knew we're working with minimal funds and resources. We tried to pick some of our best staff and some of our key staff that could really help to create this resort style experience. And we looked at really an opportunity for Sara and myself and some of our other leadership folks to build these relationships with families that we've never had before. The opportunity to really spend time with families when they're playing Gaga or hanging at the pool. The whole goal here was really to create a customer service built experience. You know, we were coming around in the golf cart, dropping off snacks and bringing you ice cream. We were serving you lunch, and Sara will talk about that in just a second. But the whole model was built around us being able to create a very special customer service resort style camp experience. How we got it started, again, we created this concept soon after we decided to cancel camp. And we had to look right first to how we're going to market it. And again, we knew there was such a need for families to find activities. We really weren't sure if families actually wanted to do it. And we often find, as we know, we pull families, we get interest from families. Everybody says they're interested, they want to do it. When sign up goes out, nobody signs up. It happens to us more frequently than we would like. And we were really nervous about this one as we had a lot riding on it. And, you know, even beyond some of the reasons before, you know, internally in the JCC, there was pressure in terms of keeping our maintenance staff working and keeping us working. And we knew that, of course, we needed signups in order to keep everybody going. We had polled families. Again, everyone was very interested. It sounded like this great idea. We were really unsure. We started doing lots of marketing pushes, really things that would be relatively inexpensive, but really hit our clientele and our base of families. So emailing all of our camp families, using our JCC distribution list and sending things out via social media. We put registration out. In the beginning, it was very wishy-washy. We really weren't sure what we were going to get. And slowly but surely, registration started coming in. So in the beginning, we decided we we're going to offer 3 weeks, 3 days per week of family camp, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. It allowed us on Mondays to kind of set things up, get everything ready. And on Fridays, as we know, people, especially in our area, travel down the shore, they do their own thing. We felt that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays were the best option as far as recruiting these families. The first 3 days, very minimal registrations, but we said we have to continue with it. We kind of had our base number. What's our breaking point to be able to run it or not run it? And those first couple of days, we did take as a loss, as we knew that in order to get families to understand what this was going to look like and how it could be successful, we had to just push through. So day one, that first Tuesday, we had 4 families attend. And I'll tell you, we learned so much from those 4 families. Some things as simple as we learned by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, families were starved. They had lunch 2 hours ago. The kids were struggling to get through the day. The families were struggling to get through the day. We realized, you know what? We have to add snack time into the day. And that's what we did. So by day 2, we had built-in snack and water time, brought popsicles out at different times of the day. It was really a chance for us to learn and to grow from it, because that's how we were able to develop it for the weeks beyond that. After week 1, almost every day, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays had fully sold out. We were getting requests. Can I please come in? I want to be with this family. Can you please just let me in? We were often making requests happen, finding ways to incorporate more families. In the end, our biggest challenges were that we only had so many available activities and so many available staff. So to balance it all with as many families as we had at camp, we had to just make sure that our numbers were accurate and all worked out well. When families arrived, and Sarah will really walk you through what this camp day looked like, but we really, again, wanted to push this customer service oriented experience. And one of the ideas that came about along the way was, well, of course, families need to know where they're going and what their schedule is going to look like for the day. And we said, sure, we could put it on an easy little 8.5 by 11 paper. We could put it on Publisher or whatever. We said we have to have a little bit more fun with it. We personalized everybody's schedules. It looked something like this. This was an 11 by 17 folded over into like a little booklet. And on the front and the back was their family name and their schedule. And on the inside was our camp map with the activities of where they were going, so they knew where to go and how to get around. It was a nice way for them to travel around. I'll tell you, the kids especially, we would pass out that schedule in the morning. The kids wanted to hold on to it. It was their special piece for the day, and they loved to travel around with it. Going to families middle of the day saying, what do you have next? They pull their schedule out. They tell us, we get them where they have to go. And of course, as we traveled around helping families and guiding families, we had our own versions of the schedule. So we always knew where families were supposed to be, where they weren't supposed to be. But in the end, we wanted families to have fun. So, they had their activity schedule, but if maybe, 20 minutes into Gaga, they weren't having, they were done and they were ready to move on, our sports staff and our other staff would be around to help them and come up with other activities to get them through the day. As we know, sometimes a 45-minute activity period can drag depending on what the activity is. We really tried to develop that over time to make sure the activities felt like they were full, content-based times.
So in terms of what a full day looked like, obviously you just saw the schedule, but for us, as Sharon said, we wanted to treat it as much like a resort as possible. So if you've ever brought your families to a place like a Woodlock Lounge or a Split Rock Resort where you really get that, or going on a cruise, very similar idea, where you get that schedule of activities, the rah-rah as you're arriving. So families pulled up in the morning. Jared and I greeted every single family with their schedule. Of course, we had our health center director there taking everyone's temperatures at the time. And we were, involving all of the necessary COVID protocol. We were pre-portioning supplies for every single family so that no one was using the same supplies. But most importantly were these dedicated family spaces that we created throughout the day. So once a family arrived, they got a picture taken in the mornings, the same way you get on the cruise and you usually have to pay for it at the end of the cruise. Same concept, but we didn't make them pay for it at the end of the day. And by the end of that evening, we had sent that picture home in a branded frame to each family by email, just for them to have to remember their day by, whatever it may be. So dedicated family spaces, we used our pavilions. We are very blessed, of course, and we know that, to have a beautiful outdoor camp. But this can be done in any space, whether it's a parking lot, whether it's a field, a playground area, any outdoor space you have. Each family had a dedicated table with a sign in a lucite frame. So it said that this was this family's home base. It's where they could leave their bags during the day. Every family had a water cooler dedicated to them because at the time, we didn't want families to cross and use different water coolers. We really tried to keep it sanitized and really families were using their own drink spaces. But places for them to drop things. If families brought strollers, they didn't want to schlep around the whole day. There were bathrooms, changing rooms, et cetera, that were really dedicated for them. Then what we would do midday, we scheduled our pool periods, which was a double period for each family, where they would have swim and lunch during that time. We took all the family signs in these frames and we went to our pool deck and we created family pods of chairs. So there was 2 lounge chairs and a couple of sitting up chairs for each family pod with their sign. And Jared and I personally served every family lunch on a tray. Part of it was because we couldn't do a buffet and we couldn't have people coming up and getting their own food. But part of it was also this very human interaction of, we're a very large camp and a lot of families often don't even know who we are. And we're trying to push that and really get away from that image in our community of what camp is like because we're so large. So we greeted every single family. We knew what chips each child liked. We knew what flavor popsicles each kid liked by the end of that day. We really tried to make it as personalized an experience as possible. And of course, everything was pre-plated and separately done. Families got to put in a food order in the morning. So we barbecued and they got to pick a hamburger or a hot dog or a veggie burger, but it really made that like very special experience during the day. And then as Jared mentioned, we would come around in the later afternoon with snacks or extra popsicles and cold water and coolers because it allowed families to take that break. My own family, you actually, in this slide, the bottom slide, it's my parents and my husband and my twin 3-year-olds. And so they came for the day. And my parents even said to me, my mom said to me, and she's not a camp person, she's like, this is the first day that's felt like a vacation in a year. And that was really the goal, was we wanted them to have that really positive special experience. So some of the things you can see, you'll see like we use more plastic table covers and it was not environmentally friendly and we fully recognize that, but we covered every table constantly in between use. But you'll see the different families able to join each other. They went swimming, they had mini golf, and families for the most part did keep to themselves. One of the things I really love, you'll actually see in the bottom left photo, was how many 3-generation families we had at family camp. We had so many grandparents join us for family camp this past season, which was really beautiful. And one of the things that it enabled, which we didn't anticipate, was potential donors. And that was a really special experience also, because we know that for us right now, the camp parent generation is my generation and people aren't donating at this age, but my parents' generation is. And so getting them in the door really created a new opportunity for new revenue stream for donations as well. So then we had so much interest that we're like, we got to find more ways to fill days. So we also wanted to bring about some more Judaic content into the experience, more than just being at camp, which of course is in and of itself a wonderful Judaic experience. So we added in Shabbat family camps. We did these on Fridays and we invited local clergy or local Jewish educators to come and run Shabbat poolside. So families sat with their feet in the pool. They did their Shabbat services at the pool. They did brachot before lunch and then had their lunch, had swim, etc. We also had each family braid their own challah. We actually, because it was towards the end of the summer, we did round chalot for every family to prepare for Rosh Hashanah. And we had all the fun mix-ins and things like that, which was an absolute blast as well. And again, we tried to brand it. You can go to the next slide. We tried to brand it as well. So not only did we send every family home with their challah, but we wanted every family to go home with all of the brachot to say on Shabbat, which we laminated and branded around family camp in the hope that this is something that families will use in their homes for many years to come. So you can see some of our clergy who are there. They came with their musical instruments. They stood very far back from families, so there was no issue. For a couple of the clergy members who came to visit us this summer, this was their first time interacting with people in person since the pandemic had begun. So it was a really great opportunity. And the clergy members, actually, a couple of them came with their own families for family camp in other days, which was really special as well.
So we finished out the summer. And again, we had so much interest in family camp over the course of the summer. And typically in the fall time, we run a large fall festival. We welcome almost 2,000 people on our property for lots of different activities. And obviously this year we weren't going to have a large scale program, but again, we love fall time at camp. It's one of those very special times. So we said, again, we love this fall family, we love the family camp model. Can we translate that to a fall style family camp? And that's what we did. But we made it with some variations. Knowing that schedules are very different from the summer to the fall, we abridged it where we offered a morning session and an afternoon session. You remember it's the fall now, so we lost things like water activities. There's no more pool, splash park, stuff like that. So we knew that it was a very different style that we had to go about. So in our fall model, activities were a little bit shorter. They only had about 4 activities over the course of the day. And we offered some different snacks because we weren't going to serve a full lunch. We weren't doing a barbecue poolside. We did lots of fall themed snacks. Hot apple cider, hot chocolate. We had, pumpkin style treats and things. We actually did a more concession stand style. So as families were enjoying their activities, if they wanted a break, if they wanted a snack, they could come over to us, and Sara and myself and some other staff members were over at the concession area. They could come and enjoy any snack they want, unlimited amounts of supplies. We had some kids and adults coming back in between every period. We had the marshmallows with the hot chocolate. It was really a lot of fun. And really, we ended up with some great weather. We had one rougher style day, some light rain but even the family's still having a good time. We just adjusted and had some different activities. And I think the beauty of all of this, and that is, what's the future? And before Sara goes into testimonials, is what does this look like moving forward? Number one, we know we want to continue doing this. This is not something that's going to go away anytime soon. We already have on the calendar in registration, in our registration system, fall family or family camp for next summer, our Shabbat family camp that we'll do towards the back half of the summer next year. And while we are hopeful that we'll be able to bring back our full fall festival in whatever variation it might be, we have full intentions of also bringing back our fall family camp, some of these more personal style days, with hopes that we can bring out some more activities, some higher capacity numbers. It's all the long-term goals. We know that this model is here to stay and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
One of the things I think that was really very interesting was how much feedback we got from families, which we all know, especially if you work in the camping world or in programming world in your JCC, that we often get the negative feedback. We don't always get the positive from families, but we had so many families reaching out with gratitude after family camp. It became a really interesting experience for us. So we shared a couple of the testimonials, and I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with anyone who's thinking about running a program. You can flip it over. But I think that one of the things that I loved about this concept is that this is able to be replicated in any JCC across the country. No matter where you're located or what type of facility you have, this is something that you're able to do and highlight the best of whatever your camp does. So for us, we're very blessed to have this facility that's in nature. We have boating, and we have these spaces where we're able to do some things that are unique and different to our camp. But maybe there's something that your camp especially excels at. This can be replicated anywhere you go. And it's something that really for us brought some new families into our fold. We had families that came to family camp that might not have come to us as campers, but their children are now registered for camp this season. So it was a great opportunity to market camp. It became a great opportunity to meet potential new donors. It was something that we really fell in love with, and we had so much fun personally getting the chance to spend time with these families and meet them and be a part of their seasonal experience. So that is it for our presentation. We're happy to take any questions that you guys might have. Oh, thanks, I. Any questions?
Well, that was just a terrific presentation, Sara and Jared, and we thank you so much. It's and you're seeing some comments too in the chat. The session that you presented, as you said, can be replicated and scaled at other JCC day camps. So please reach out to Sara and reach out to Jared if you want more information about family camp, and they'll be happy to help you. Again, thank you so much.
And Steve, can I just add that one of the things that was really special was we have a very close relationship with our other New Jersey camps, our other New Jersey JCC camps. We have a texting chain that we're constantly communicating, and two of our colleagues at other JCC camps in New Jersey already started running family camp programs after we started running the program. And so that's been really beautiful. And we helped and were able to be resources for them. And we are happy to be resources for anyone else who's interested in doing this and share budgets and things like that as we go along the way.
And I forgot to add earlier in the part of our fall family camp, just a fun note is that we actually brought out pumpkins. The kids could decorate a pumpkin for fall family camp as their arts and crafts activity. And this pumpkin has managed to make its way since October. It's been sitting on my ledge since wow. It's been sitting on my ledge since October and going strong. So
this is amazing.
Let us know.
This is amazing. It's in the soil. Folks, a second set of JCC Excellence Showcase initiatives, totally different from the one that you just saw, follows this session at 4:30. And you're welcome to check out the full list of options on SpotMe to to choose your next session. And on behalf of all of us at JCC Association, thank you so much for attending. And again, Sara and Jared, great job.
Thank you guys all so much for joining us.